Ladies and gents, hello and welcome to a 4v4 CBA game. If you don't know what CBA is, you're going to figure it out with me, and I'm going to break this down now. We've got a 4v4 game here, and I'd like to bring more of this to the channel, so, I think it'll be good fun, all right? We got Nolo here in the yellow, all the way over here to Chaos as one team, okay? And then you have player 5, Osama, all the way over to Maxwell as the other team. Now, real quick rundown on how CBA works. You do not have villagers at the start, and you have 4 castles, which are essentially your lives. Each castle will spawn your unique unit. The way you get villagers is by getting a certain amount of raisings, or, destroying buildings is what that means. If you'd like to get up in age and then get upgrades and whatnot on your units, you have to get a certain amount of kills. And on screen will be the quick rundown for all the civilizations in the game and their requirements. That is obviously way too difficult to memorize, but that is basically how it works. Okay, so first things first, obviously we got unique units that are spawning here, right? There can be some really bad matchups, and this is a particularly bad matchup for the northern team. Just look at some of the units down here in the south. They're some of the best unique units in the game. We've got the Conquistador, the Camel Archer, the Mameluke, and then the weakest one will probably be the Throwing Axeman. But Throwing Axeman's actually not too terrible in CBA, particularly because they're pretty good against buildings. And if you get the Franks player villagers later on, they can then go for lots of paladins. So this gets tricky. And so the reason I'm bringing this to you is because of, one team's going to have to be creative. So you look at the chat, actually. Nolo says, set me raise to Chaos. And Chaos says, funny, I died to all. And Nolo says, that's why you set. So we've got a lot of high-level players here. Players who play in the Black Forest community mainly, but players who have been in the top 100 on the ladder. And so the unit control is going to be insane. And basically what Nolo means by that is, you need to set me a raise. And that is because usually archer civilizations, not all, but Vietnamese is one of them, they need 1 raise, so they only need to destroy 1 building to get villagers, okay? Whereas civilization like the Spanish, let's say, forgive me, I don't have it all memorized. I believe Spanish is 3 raises because they are an incredibly good unit and also get, destroy buildings much faster than a Rats and Archer might be, okay? So, again, getting villagers then means you can build up buildings, to eventually push. You can even, build extra layers of walls and extra layers of defense. Getting villagers is key. Because right now, and the KD is going to be on the right side, by the way, bottom right. Right now, unfortunately, they're not going to make a lot of progress otherwise. So, I'm going to give a lot of credit to Chaos and how he's played this so far on this side. He knows he has no business killing these units, but he's done a lot of patrols on no attack stance to try and, distract some of the shots and kind of set up Nolo a little bit. But over here, Pain is coming for Chaos. On one hand, he doesn't want to feed kills to the Conquistador player, but on the other hand, he doesn't want to give up raises. There's really nothing he can do about it. Cool Cat is here with the Ratha. And the Ratha are doing a decent enough job, but I mean, Camel Archer and also Conquistador is tough. So something that's kind of interesting in terms of balance in CBA is some of the units start as elite versions and others do not. So this is a standard Mameluke and not an elite Mameluke, but this is an elite Rats and Archer. And then this is an elite Throwing Axeman. So yeah, real progression here from the southern team as they try and push towards to get some raises. Meanwhile, over here, we've got Osama about to get raise number 2. Now, in this case, pretty much everyone on Osama's team should be in a pretty good spot to get raises. I think the toughest one to take out buildings would maybe be the Camel Archers. Camel Archers don't do a ton of damage against buildings, but you're not going to complain about having someone camped in their base like this and getting raises real early. So I was correct. It is 3 raises for the Spanish player to get vills, and now he's going to add stables. So in the future, he can go for knights and then eventually paladin. Because the other thing, too, as green tries to come over here to raise, is you are currently pop capped at how many units you're going to get spawned from your castles. You will not get up to 200. That is dependent on your unique unit. Usually the worst units are going to get more units. So, like, Chaos, for example, has 102 Jags, but I think that's the cap. You can get up to 200 plus population or 200 population if you make normal units from your buildings. So, yeah. The last time I covered CBA was like 7 months ago, so this might still be new for some of you guys, but I'm just trying to break it down kind of as we go. But right now, like, Chaos is trying to find ways to contribute. And this is a big moment. Villagers have to run here for Osama. Red actually ran through. That was actually really nice. And he could, if he wanted to, he could try and take out some of these building foundations. But he instead just got the kills. And over here, he's helping player 1 clear this up. I believe it was Gray who got that raised. I really wish there was an easy way to keep track. I believe it was the Camel Archers who got that one. Otherwise, there would be more villagers there for Osama. And still no raise for Nolo. But Nolo has made it to Castle Age because of the amount of kills. For Vietnamese and for a lot of civs, it's 300. So he can get, like, ballistics. He can get bodkin. He can get other archer armor now. So he's the first one to Castle Age. He had really good work from Chaos because he doesn't want to feed kills. Because then everyone else is going to get up to the next stage much faster. But, like, villager update, right? We've got Osama with villagers. We've got no one else with villagers at this time. And what you're really scared of, usually, is you're scared of archer civilizations getting vills real early. Especially in situations where they get lots of kills. Because there can be, like, really bad units for archer civs, so they don't usually require as many kills to get Imperial Age. So it feels weird to see the Jags patrolling like this. You might be like, why not just fight it? Well, you're just going to lose your units then really fast, and then yellow's not going to get as many kills. So I think a way that they could try and deal with this, I think orange in particular is maybe being a bit wasteful, but you could actually get in closer. That's just really good unit control over there. So, big fight over here. Camel Archers still in conks. The Wrath are actually doing a really nice job. Remember, green is no gates. If at any point these castles get taken out, each castle is a life and a spawn for him. And they're making a move. Now, watch this. See, I'm actually, just because this is still, like, not my normal content, I do just want to show you real quick. So, it was, this is an intentional set. Actually, maybe red didn't stop attacking. I think they just got a little lucky, honestly, because red might have, like, accidentally stolen that. But anyways, yellow gets the raise and is already going to make some buildings. So the nice news for yellow is yellow's already been able to click those blacksmith upgrades, so has had them coming in for a while. So those upgrades are coming in. And you can do a couple things. You could try and wall in front if you really want to keep yourself safe, but yellow knows that we need army, basically. More army on the field to change this game. Right here. You see how what happened right there? Osama sets the raise for Gray. And now Gray is going to have vills as well. So you look at, like, the overall civilization. But then you think about who can you get villagers to. And it's really not looking good for the northern team. Because the Spanish player is just destroying everything. He has no problems to build up all these stables. He's already up to 235 kills. And then the Berber player as well, dropping stables as well. So 2 vills for the southern team. When I say 2 vills, it's like 2 players with vills. Technically, it's 4 vills, but I think you know what I mean. So over here now, like, basically, Nolo already has villagers, and he wants to spread the love with the team. And Chaos is telling him to take it because Chaos doesn't feel like vills are going to help him that much. So it is a very strategic thing. And I found out recently that high-level players are playing a lot more CBA, so at least like this crew. So I have every intention of covering more of this. It's really good when people coordinate, and I used to play this for thousands of hours back in the day. Chaos is basically saying, get the raise, because I want you to build up more buildings. Because look at this. Like, he's already up to 100 army. He's going heavy CA. And purple is still in feudal. The entire other team is still in feudal. And that will change eventually based on kills. So they kind of need to snowball to try and, like, kill somebody off quickly. Couple other small things to mention here. And just ways you want to think about this. You really think about CBA in terms of late game tech. So the Berbers, as good as their starters with camel archers, the fact that it's a civilization that has cheap stable units, that's not helpful here compared to like having paladin because it's unlimited resources, right? So you really want like a paladin civ or like an elephant civ or a really good cav archer civ, I guess. You don't really want a civilization that's like stuck at just cavalier or you know, like a generic archer. So and here comes the Ratha trying to get their raise, committing everything to get it, and gets a raise there. And I think that's the first raise there for blue, so blue's going to need probably one more. I think 2 seems to make sense. I haven't played too much with so many of these civilizations because I used to play in Age of Conquerors, but I think the Bengali late game has elephants and elephant archers, so you really don't want them to get vills. It might even be 3. But we'll find out. Military count starting to climb a little bit here for Cool Cat. Cool Cat, or sorry, not for Cool Cat, for Nolo. And you can tell by the unit queue, like, this really just comes down to, like, how many production buildings do you have? And they're still making progress and trying to set up the team. And, like, the issue is the other team is getting fed a lot of kills right now. And they're advancing up through the ages. They're going to be getting upgrades. If purple ever gets vills, purple's going to be on Frank Paladin, which is a problem. And gray saying get raised. I don't know who he's talking to, actually. It's very confusing. Might have been talking about something else. And Cool Cat is saying, I need to take that. Cool Cat takes the raise. There we go. Osama taunting them, saying you can resign. These guys are all pals. He's basically like, you are dead. There is no way that you can beat us here. Now the players are starting to build outside of their bases. And so this is where it gets kind of interesting with, like, CBA unwritten rules. So, well, first off, let's start with the actual rules. So, if you delete one of your towers or one of your gates, one of your starting towers or gates, you are immediately defeated by the scenario. You cannot do that. However, it does allow you to delete your castles. Obviously, there's a downside to that. Or buildings that you have placed or built. And so, most really dedicated CBA players, they play no delete. Meaning, the game still allows you to delete your archery range, let's say, but you don't. And so, yeah, I don't know, like, how active, like, the average player base, or, like, the average player is in this, and like what you guys are going to encounter if you play it in the lobby browser. But I asked these guys, and basically they play no delete. So what that means is this is risky, right? Because, like, you can go destroy this stable, get a raise, because the guy's not going to delete it. Whereas obviously, like, if you could just delete the building, there would be no risk. Throwing Axemen come in, important moment, sneaky moment. And the Axemen commit to get a raise. Get the raise, still not enough for vills here for purple. But, you know, maybe worth it. Blue over here was trying to re-wall the front of his base. We got crazy night spam here from Osama. And poor freaking Chaos is just stuck, unsure what to do. Because he doesn't want to feed Teal to Imp. Like, once the opponent's already an Imp, you might as well just fight anyways. But Blue does still have the vills. How many vills does Blue have? Okay, 2 vills apparently. And it's going to be mixing in more and more elephants. Vuki's telling Fantasy to kill buildings. Now, this is apparently Fantasy's first time ever playing CBA. And he joined to play Black Forest here, because this is from the Black Forest, the Rage Forest Discord. So, he's seen some of these other people with vills. I don't know if he exactly knew what he was getting into here. But he's going to come over here with the Mamelukes. And I think that raise actually went to purple. I'm not sure. Saracens need a lot of raises. but they get 1 there. Army count's crazy, right? Poor green is stuck. Maybe if green can get a Vil and make it to Castle Age, it could be good. But only 27 kills. I think you need 200 kills for Castle Age, so it's going to be rough. Army count really high right now for Nolo and for Cool Cat. And this is where, like, dude, this stuff gets me so excited. Like, and I'm really excited to bring you guys more CBA because look at this teamwork, right? Like, using red space. Red doesn't have a Vil, so, and it's all about production right now. So Nolo is actually using this space. And I think sometimes if you, like, play a random game with a bunch of people who, you know, don't really know each other and also aren't as good, you're not going to have this level of teamwork and coordination. So happy to be bringing this to you. They might be like, yo, that's my space, bro, you know. And rightly so, I guess, if they don't know you and it's not communicated. So again, gray and teal going for this big buildup. Eventually, Osama is going to be an imp, and that will be a problem. But Cool Cat just hit imp here, guys. Green is useless in this game, but green has helped where he could. It's essentially 3v4. Can yellow and blue build up enough to contest and get the job done here? I think villagers that were out there for Osama were just sniped. Those villagers are killed. Were killed off. You can tell the Ratha here got the kills, I believe. There's an economy kill in there. So actually, gray no longer has Vils, and Osama no longer has Vils because they built out so much. And that will affect their production, but there's still a whole lot of stables. But that's also a whole lot of elephants. There's still a whole lot of progress happening over here. And Osama, who dropped the "you can resign again" earlier, starting to panic a little bit as he screams camels at Vuki. I'm not really sure what to suggest. I mean, I guess camels helps a little bit. Nolo, this is back to what we talked about earlier. He says Vuki deleted. Thinks that maybe a foundation was deleted or something. Again, it's a shame that, like, the entire scenario can't be rigged so you can't delete, but that would make things weird. And there we go. Purple, boom. Destroys that archery range. Purple now, I think, 1 raise away from being able to build stables. They cannot allow the Frank player to make stables. Gray thinks they're GG. Yellow coming in. Look at the move from Nolo. Did you see that? Oh, man. Dude, Nolo's good. I had no clue. Like, some of these guys had so much experience in CBA. It's sick. Like, he immediately knew Purple was about to get a Vil, and he went in to snipe them. And the only way Purple would get Vils again is if he raised, but the buildings are on the way up. There's going to be a whole bunch of Vils now for blue. So blue's going to get Vils to be able to build out more. You can actually turn it off if you don't want more. That's a setting. But now green gets Vils too. So now green's able to build ranges and barracks. Maybe think about, like, some eagles. Maybe some pikemen. You know, with Aztecs, you're very limited. But eagle pikeman feels decent against the camel and knight in the long term. Population still pretty high for the team that has a useless player, but that useless player suddenly not so useless. But we've only got 1 player remaining on this team, and that would be Fantasy, who again wanted to play Black Forest and got into this. So Fantasy needs to get Vils so Fantasy can build up army. But Saracens are pretty decent too. You could go for camels with lots of HP. I wouldn't actually hate heavy cav archer here with Saracens. They're pretty good. I think close to full upgrades. Orange here needs to defend purple so purple can get more knights out. That's key. And then we got walls here from Chaos just trying to protect his team and give them a little bit more space. Different versions of CBA don't let you build towers, by the way. This version does, which is interesting. I think it might make sense for Cool Cat to maybe delete one of these walls. A lot of units are getting stuck right there. Knights are headed this way for Osama. If you're an imp, by the way, you do have vision over everything because you can research spies. So that's a big reason why, you know, Nolo went in for the Vils earlier and why certain decisions are made. Osama does not have that, though. Osama's still not an imp. Spanish take... I think it's 650 or 700 kills per imp. So I think it's really close for Osama. I haven't played with Spanish in years, but that's probably it. Crazy army count for yellow. 200 army. Blue's got a 150 right now. And I think the choice of camel was pretty good from gray. Camels are certainly going to help. Chaos starting to get some kills against the camels, though. Suddenly, that's not bad for him. If he could just get up to 200 or whatever it is. Maxwell, the Frank player, is in Imp, by the way. And that's a problem. Paladin's coming in. Frank Paladin's really strong. So they need to kill fast. Osama had Vils, lost the Vils, still not an Imp. Gray had Vils, lost the Vils, in Imp. Orange, in Imp, no villagers. Purple, in Imp with villagers. On the other side, yellows had villagers and has had production for a long time. Red does not have Vils, though. That's going to be an issue. They could maybe have... Having red on Paladin would be really nice. Maybe not against Mamelukes and Camels, but still. Blue obviously have the Vils. Green has the Vils as well. So essentially, there was 3 players on each team that have had villagers or have villagers presently. And so this is where, you know, Orange is clearly new. He says how to get Vils. Gray says you need to kill buildings. And then he says he's never played CBA before. So he didn't know how many to kill. I think he's 1 away. He's 1 or 2 away. And there's a lot of forward buildings here. Lots of things you could maybe snipe. This, to me, is extremely ambitious. You look at it from Orange's point of view. Orange is thinking, okay, we're taking big fights. We're losing ground. We're losing ground. We're losing ground. What do? We got to defend purple. Purple needs the space for those paladins. Purple no longer has that Vil. I actually have no clue where the other villager is right now. Oh, the other villagers made it back here. Also, if you delete the back gate, the sidewalls delete. So that's an experience move. And then right here, Chaos, who's done so good to keep everybody else in the game, has built these barracks out here. And again, they're playing with the no delete rule. He respects the rule. And all of a sudden, Orange has villagers. Really got to question that from Chaos. He was trying to prep himself to be put in a position so he could make army, though. And it's a good move from Orange to move out there and take out those barracks. It went down very quickly. Maxwell now comes over here with Paladins. Maxwell hoping to stop this. Nice quick walls there from Chaos. Really sick quick walls and gate there from Chaos, actually. If you didn't notice, Osama is in Imp. So it will be Paladins for him in a minute. And then we're going to have Orange building up that camel number. Considering Green, poor Green, still is in feudal age and can't really contribute anything. It is kind of looking like at this stage of the game, things are really starting to tilt against the northern team here. I really like the shift. I really like the focus from purple and gray to try and hit different areas here. Trying to snipe some villagers here or there. Like these 2 villagers in the tower. They had to be garrisoned. Just trying to wreak some havoc where they could. There was also some decent defensive moves too. There's always so much happening, but Red did try and run in here, I think, to snipe Gray's villagers. But now, every single player in the southern team has Vils, and the army's only going to get stronger for them. And Green will never be able to realistically contribute now. Nolo saying he's verse 5, which he probably just meant to say he's verse 4. And I think Cool Cat and Nolo and Dratech and Chaos, as good as they played, are probably realizing this is likely the end for them. More towers will go down. More gates will go down. More villagers will be gained for the enemy. More space, right? More freedom to move forward. And Chaos, who's probably had a horrible time. Think about how fun this was for him. Like, he's been able to... he did what he could. He's saying it's impossible to win. We had to win when you were in. And yeah, they're coming to the conclusion that this game is going to be over here. I felt like, despite the civs here, and like even the start was so good for the team that is building up to win here this game. I felt like this was a really good CBA game. Lots of like tiny little details, right? The communication with Nolo at the start to get that raise the teamwork to give some of the raise to blue, the timings where they were an imp and needed to pressure the others before villagers, all that stuff is really, really helpful here. I am actually uncertain on what is possible in this particular version of CBA. The old versions that I used to play, you couldn't make onagers or scorpions. You could only go rams. You couldn't go bomber cannons either. But now I see Maxwell is going for onager and scorpion, so I don't know what these guys are doing exactly. Like, in theory, if you have siege onager, you should probably go for siege onager. But I think, like, siege ram is great for the buildings. Chaos has made it to Castle Age. Hype. We'll need to make it to Imp as well. And we'll then need to have a unit that doesn't get destroyed by Conquistador and Paladin. And yeah, Chaos, he resigns. The rest of the team is going to resign. And that's going to be the end of the game. But yeah, it was a fun game. I thought it was a fun game. And not the best game of CBA ever, but a really good showing from the team that was always going to struggle civ-wise at the start. Now, what I want from you guys is I want to hear if you want more of this. There's different scenarios I could mix into my content as well, but basically CBA is kind of my bread and butter. CBA is a one that I understand. You have a lot of situations where there is like plumed archers or rattan archers or, you know, the archer units that need the raise. You need to set them. Basically, if you've never played CBA before, this is how you need to think about it. The player which has the easiest time getting kills and well, I guess also with that raises, that should be the last player to get the raises. That should be the setup guy to try and give the others the opportunities. And, you know, so in this case, they were a little bit stuck with green. Like if green had somebody that they could potentially get more kills against, then maybe green getting a raise early, getting those vills would have made sense. Yellow obviously made sense. Yeah, I want to know if you guys want more CBA content. That's all. I've been in talks with this group, and apparently they're playing games all the time, so I'm certainly going to look through some of the good ones. This, when I saw the Civ matchup, I was like, oh, that's over. Like, Mamelukes, Camel Archers, and Conks against freaking Jaguar Warriors, Baratha, and Kustia is just like, there's no chance. But they made it a game. I will keep an eye out on what you have to say on that, and if you're interested in more content here. And I'll try and bring you good games. I'll also try and find out a little bit more information on the versions, too. Like, Bombard Towers, not something that I recall being allowed in my version. In the past, I remember CBA Hero, which is completely different, which is another scenario I can bring to you. CBA Hero, that one, Bombard Towers were allowed because you had, like, freaking heroes with all these crazy stats and whatnot integrated into it. Yeah, I'll let you know. I said enough for now. That was some more CBA. If I can, I'd like to do a CBA game every few weeks over the next few months, as long as the desire is there. So leave a like, leave a comment, and if you have questions too, and like, you know, maybe something I didn't explain about the scenario, you could always, you know, leave a shout in the comments too, and maybe I can clarify that in the next video. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching. I guess I should maybe show these stats real quick. Okay, that's pretty much it. Lots of kills there from Nolo, and yeah, see you all next time.